channel. Today I'm gonna do a romance binge number 6. I've read about 7 books since my last binge, so we're just gonna jump right into it. Okay, so the first book that I read is Forever by Monica Murphy. I absolutely loved this book. It was kind of the wrap up for the Friends series, which I absolutely love. The first series that I kind of got started on this romance binge this year. And it's kind of like the close to Tuttle and Amanda's story. So he's basically trying to like win her back the whole rest of the book. And Amanda's kind of like still wary about him. I really liked the way the story wrapped up. Brought a great close to Amanda and Tuttle, as well as all the girls involved in the Friends series. It had a nice kind of bringing them back together and that kind of thing, which I thought was really nice. And I would love to see like maybe a spin-off from this series. Eli Bennett. Something about his character just cracks me up, and I think he would be a great leading man. I absolutely loved this book and I love this series, and I definitely will be reading it again. And the next thing I read was called If You Are Mine by Melanie Harlow, and I absolutely loved this story. I thought it was really cute, and I really liked how developed these characters were, and there was a lot deeper stuff going on with them. It wasn't just bad boy meets good girl, which I appreciated. So Claire, she's a teacher, and instead of wanting, she was invited to a friend's wedding, and instead of being stuck at the singles table because they perpetually give her crap because she's always single, she basically like makes up this guy, and then as the time gets closer, obviously she can't just say, oh, we broke up or whatever. She has to find someone to come. So she ends up on this kind of like date service website, and she hires herself a date. Enter Theo, the guy who takes her out on this date, and she doesn't expect to feel all these things that she feels for him. He's kind of cocky and kind of full of himself, and usually that's like absolutely not what she wants, but for some reason everything about him attracts her to him more, and yeah, their story kind of develops from there. Okay, so the next book I want to talk to you guys is called Royally Screwed and Royally Matched by Emma Chase, and I absolutely loved these books. A friend of mine recommended them to me, and they're just so witty and humorous and well written. Like, I was like laughing the whole time I was reading these books. We meet Prince Nicholas of Pembroke, and he is screwed because his grandmother the Queen tells him that he has 6 months to basically pick a wife and get married, because the country's in this all like uproar, and they think a royal wedding will be the perfect thing to kind of like simmer everybody down. Of course, Nicholas is like distraught about this because the last thing he wants to do is get forced into getting married. There's kind of some trouble with his younger brother Henry, so he kind of goes off to the States to fetch him from New York City, where he's off gallivanting and partying. And one of the nights while Nicholas is there, he walks into this tiny little diner and meets this girl named Olivia Hammond, who is American. She's very poor, and she obviously has no idea who he is. He basically like says he'd pay her to like be with him and all this stuff, and she throws pie in his face. But then she realizes who he is, and she's kind of like, crap. And obviously this relationship forms between them, and it kind of snowballs from there. The thing is, he can't be with her. She's not from his country. Legally, they can't, like, he can't be king one day and marry her. So if you want to find out how their story unfolds, you should read it because it's amazing. And the second book in the series is called Royally Matched. I don't want to give too much away, just because if I tell you the like too much of the premise for the story, it kind of gives away what happens in the first story. So basically in this one, Henry is like searching for his love, and he ends up he wants to have fun, so he signs himself up for this kind of like matched royal edition TV show where he starts filming with all of these like ladies of the land, and he ends up falling for one of the girls kind of behind the scenes. She kind of tagged along with her sister, who really wanted to be on the show because she wants to be an actress, and she thinks it's a great opportunity to just kind of have fun and really like up her skills. Sarah tags along to kind of keep her younger sister in check, and she meets Henry, and this thing happens between them, and yeah, they're just really good stories. Okay, so the next series starts with a book called Losing It, and then the second one's called Faking It, and then the third one's called Finding It, and they are by Cora, Carmack. I haven't read the third one yet, but I did read the first 2, and I actually read them out of order, which I didn't realize until I had already started, and then it was just whatever. But I actually read the second one first, which is about Cade, who actually is, he's kind of like a side character in the first one, and I think like after reading both of them, it definitely made more sense in the second one. So yeah, Cade ends up meeting this girl named Max. He has just had a really awkward lunch with a girl, and he always had a thing for her and never really told her, and they were like, she definitely friend zoned him. So he's still kind of like dwindling around the coffee shop when this other girl who is like complete opposite of him walks in and basically like tells him to pretend, like she needs him to pretend to be her boyfriend because her parents have like surprised her and they're like gonna be there in like 5 minutes. So Cade, he's an actor, so he agrees, and in walk her parents, and they kind of get kind of like tied up having to like keep the charade going. So Max, her boyfriend, is very much not what her parents want for her. So that craziness kind of ensues from there, and it's basically like their relationship and how it evolves with this like awkward situation they put themselves in, and obviously feelings develop, and yeah. But I really liked this one. I definitely liked Losing It, which is the first one. I liked this one a lot more, and I think if I had read Faking It second, I might not have liked it as much, just because I really liked Losing It. And so, but because I read Faking It first, it wasn't like a letdown because I didn't know that there was better first. But yeah, so that leads me into Losing It. A girl named Bliss Edwards, and this one kind of reminded me of Grey's Anatomy, where the girl, she meets this guy and they go home together and something happens, except in her case it doesn't happen. But anyway, she goes into class the next morning, and the guy that she went home with turns out to be her professor, which is all kinds of awkward. So she spends like the rest of the semester like awkwardly involved with him because she knew him before, and so she kind of got to know him, and obviously she likes him and he obviously likes her, but he's her teacher, so there's kind of like this unwritten thing where they can't really be together. Obviously life happens. I really enjoyed this one. I thought it was really funny and really comical, and Cade is in this one. He's Bliss's friend who he cares about her, and obviously like everyone knows that he has a thing for her except for her. And yeah, so it's like you're kind of in this battle where you're like, oh, but she should be with Cade, oh, but she should be with Garrick, and it's just really funny. But because I had already read the next one, I knew what was going to happen in this one, which was kind of nice because it's kind of nice having like that insight. So like, you know, when you're reading something and you're like waiting for the other shoe to drop, I already knew what shoe was going to drop. And so it's kind of just nice going along for the ride. The last book that I read on this binge is called On the Island by Tracey Jarvis Graves, and I absolutely love this book. It's about a girl named Anna Emerson. She's a teacher. She's kind of in this like relationship that's not going anywhere. It's kind of like stagnant. She wants to get married. She wants to have a family. And her boyfriend, who she's been with for like 8 years, he's just not ready for any of that. So she decides to take the summer. She takes this tutoring job somewhere out in the middle of the ocean in a beach with this family to tutor their 16-year-old son who has just gotten to remission from Hodgkin's lymphoma. And so she's basically going along with them to help him catch up on his studies and that kind of thing. Her and TJ, he's 16 at the time, he talks his parents into letting him stay a couple extra days so he can hang out with his friends before he's like trapped on an island all summer. And she gets out of school and she meets him at the airport, and they get on the plane together to go. They're on this long, like, go to the other side of the world plane trip. And when they finally get to Ollie, they have to take like a seaplane to get to one of the islands, because there's like all the islands with the hotels, and then there's like tons of islands that no one's even like inhabited before. So yeah, they get on this plane, and the plane that they're originally supposed to be on, they tell them that it's overbooked and that they're gonna have to find them some other plane. But then last second they're like, oh, someone got caught, like they're missing their flight, so we have an extra plane that can take you guys where you need to go. So they're like, great, let's go, we just want to get there, because they've been traveling for like hours and hours and they just want to get there. So they get on the plane, but their pilot has a heart attack while they're traveling to these islands, and they're about halfway there, so they're like somewhere in the middle of where they left to where they're going. And he has a heart attack and he doesn't get to really land the plane, so they crash and they basically wash onto this uncharted, deserted island where no one is, and they have to survive. And I think this book, a lot of people, like reading the synopsis, a lot of people I think get the wrong idea that it's kind of controversial just because he's 16 and she's 30. She basically watches this boy become a man because they're on the island for years. and they do form a relationship that you would obviously form if you got stranded on an island that you think you're going to be on for the rest of your life. But nothing romantic happens with them until he is well over legal age. I mean, obviously he's a 16-year-old boy who thinks she's attractive, so obviously he seems to be interested most of the storyline, but she's very much like, definitely not, this is not happening, he's too young, he's just a boy, like, there doesn't seem to be any feelings there for her except for like, more like, we're surviving together, we need to take care of each other, like you would if you were stranded on an island with someone. But obviously eventually it does become more, and I think it becomes this beautiful story, and I don't want to like give it away, but I just actually finished reading it for the second time, and it is definitely like one of my favorite books, and it's just so intricately layered, and the way these characters are so shaped, I just really loved it, and I think it's a great book. If you haven't read it yet, you definitely should. And I actually checked it out from the like e-library, and now I actually really want to buy it because I've read it twice, and I probably will read it again at some point. So yeah, that was my last book for this binge. I'm not really sure what I'm reading next. I actually have a lot of books on my Goodreads right now and my currently reading because I checked out a bunch of books at the e-library and they all kind of dropped into my checkout at the same time. So I kind of just put them there so I would not forget that they're there waiting for me to read them. So the next one I'm going to read I think is going to be Lick, the Stage Dive series, which a friend of mine recommended to me. That one is currently waiting, and then I forgot what the other one's called, but it's by Jay Crowner, I think. I can't remember the title right now, but that's waiting in my box as well. So yeah, I have a lot of other books to read, so there will definitely be a Romance Binge 7 coming for you guys. But if you guys enjoyed this video, please give it a thumbs up, and if you'd like to see more binges, please subscribe so you do not miss them, because there will surely be more. But I hope you guys enjoyed this video. I hope you have an amazing day, and I hope you have an amazing week, and I will see you guys next Tuesday. Bye!